Thank you. Here we go. And action.
We are working together, sort of a Laurel and Hardy type relationship.
Well, we haven't decided if it's kind of Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, or Martin and Lewis.
You know what? I said Laurel and Hardy. I've never seen Laurel and Hardy. I have no idea if it's a Laurel and Hardy relationship. It might be. Maybe Abbott and Costello. I don't know. Martin and Lewis. Are those even things?
Jason understood that in order for me to be like bored and ironic and laconic, he would have to be, you know, really over the top. And that just happened. That's just luck, you know, that's just like the universe smiling at you.
Terrence gets all the punchlines, sadly, but it's only a punchline because I set him up so well. So I'm sort of the unsung hero in this situation.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest and most excellent fancy. Why, he'd blown me on his back 1,000 times. I played Hamlet in 1969.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at Stratford.
Kenny and I worked together on Miracle, and I think Kenny's really strong. Smart, strong, easy, really easy to work with because he just likes to, again, he likes to play and likes to do things. But he's sort of like, you know, water on the mountain. He just rolls it out there. Makes it look pretty effortless.
Ken Welsh has gravitas as an actor, and that's a quality I was looking for very much, the character of Uncle Paddy. And I like the idea of like a Lothario, you know, like a roguish Irish Lothario. And Ken kind of fits the bill. I think he even put the moves on me. It was enjoyable to watch him play, especially a man of his, you know, considerable breadth of experience. I like that we're kind of getting into your character a little bit. You're kind of winding it up. And speaking of winding it up, Catherine Winnick showed great poise putting up with all of us guys.
I'm definitely surrounded by men. I'm the only woman that I've seen on set so far.
Catherine was a discovery.
The casting director called me up and she's like, Catherine, are you available to come in an hour and a half? I'm like, what? And she said that the Jonathan's just in town for a short window before he jumps on a plane. And so I read the script and I said, of course, I would love to meet Jonathan.
I've never done this before, this sort of May-December aspect of a relationship. Appears to be one thing, may entirely be another. Makes the audience immediately have an impression.
Lola is a wild card. You really don't know much about Lola. And not knowing who she is or what her involvement is or how involved is she, for me, it's a lot more interesting to play because I have a bigger range.
That has to be Guy.
Who's Guy?
Guy de Cornet was a fun character to create, and Chris did an amazing job bringing him to life.
Chris, who's Chris?
So Chris was, again, a discovery.
We saw so many guys, and we were sent so many tapes, and there were some performers where we're like, he could kind of be Guy. He's not really. Chris hit it out of the park within 2 lines, and I knew right away that that we had found our guy, or Guy. We had found our Guy. We had found our guy, Guy. God. He'll take what you're saying, run with it, and give you 4 different versions before you can even finish your sentence.
While he is staunchly French, he's also an Anglophile, or rather, he actually sort of really loves America, which I think is rather dichotomous, typically.
I mean, there's this old stale trope of the Frenchman who hates America. I kind of want to make a Frenchman who loved America. And in the script, it was super effusively American. And we kind of changed it a little bit over time.
Jonathan had some ideas about what he wanted the character to be, but he was very flexible and open about where I might want to take the character. And I feel like both of our visions for Guy gelled and coincided. And then, of course, then you get a great hair and makeup department and a great wardrobe department, and he sort of comes to life in this. I mean, I typically dress like a, you know, like a French G.I. Joe character, so it was pretty easy for me to just blend right into that.
Geez, I have no complaints. I mean, not that I would sit here and tell you, yeah, Chris, he's just can't hold up. Sorry, good guy. Probably should be his last show. I don't know, he just can't work. Good-looking guy. Good-looking guy. Just can't read a line. You know, what are you going to do? You're not going to sit here and say that. No, I think he's terrific. I'm enjoying the movie because I think everybody is bringing to the characters what they're supposed to bring, and more.
I've likened movies to heists before, and what I do to being kind of a thief. And inherent in that is the dynamic of finding your way with guys that you don't know. You know of them, but you don't know them.
That's right. You get to know the actors, get to know how they work, and you play scenes with them, get to know them better. And if your style is, your way of working is, different or similar, then everything begins to blend after a while.
When you come on and you do a small part, the last thing you're thinking about is getting the attention. Really, the very last thing you're thinking about. You're just thinking about, how can I blend in with this troupe? How can I get into this dinner that's already half cooked,
I like ensemble acting. I always have. I really like working with a group of different actors. We're all working together. I really do. I love that.
Casting becomes vitally important when doing an ensemble film. Taking the time to make sure that they all kind of work against each other and with each other in the right ways is integral. And how they play individually, collectively, separately, and in different combinations is a delicate balance that takes time. That takes a lot more time than, say, a love story where you got to worry about the chemistry of 2 people. You're worrying about the chemistry of up to 8 people. As a second-time filmmaker, this is my second film, I believe in over-preparing. I still feel very fortunate every day I'm ever on set that you're kind of entrusted to do this. I mean, it's not rocket science and it's not brain surgery. It's way more important. No, it's let me try that again.
Why is Jonathan worth my time? I ask myself that every morning when alarm goes off at 6 a.m. for a 7 a.m. call.
I've always said this about Jonathan. Working with him in the first movie that we did together, Beginner's Guide to Endings, it was great because he was a first-time director, and I pushed him around. I got to do whatever I wanted. But this time, the second time around, boy, things have changed. Because now I tell Terrence to push him around, and it's so much more fun.
It's been great so far. I mean, he does more takes than I would like, but he's young.
Jonathan, the first time out, he was a guy who just knew what he was doing. He was very focused, and he was very, I was impressed. You don't get that in a first-time film director. Second time out, he is just slid way down. He has gotten so much worse. I don't know what happened.
Next time. And action.
He's really creative. He knows what he wants. He's very visual, and he's a good writer. But he's also flexible, which I think is the difference. That's the thing that's going to make the film come together, is that he's a guy who's not afraid to say, hey, it's changed a little bit. We have to find a different way. This isn't working. Or I have an idea. This is great. I know it might take some doing to make it happen, but we can do it.
I do encourage, and I did encourage, a lot of our performers, if there's something that they want to do, to try it. I mean, to take ownership of their character oftentimes means, putting in, ideas and words into your character's mouth that you want to see in there.
It's this weird thing every time you start out, you kind of find your tango with this person that you take your cue from. And it's it's like moving puzzle pieces around, and then eventually they connect. And I think once we got each other, which didn't take, I think it was probably lunchtime the first day, the first morning obviously is awkward for anybody doing anything. What's good about Jonathan is Jonathan has such a definitive, like I said, voice and vision in his heart and his mind, so he knows exactly what this is supposed to be, and he moves fast. He has confidence in his abilities, which is something that not a lot of directors actually end up having. Clint Eastwood has it, Cronenberg has it, guys that know that they don't need any more than what they got. And Sobel just shoots. Once he's got it, moving on. No reason to stand on pretense.
Cutting! One more time. Woo! Moving on. Next up. Moving on. We're done with the scene. Come on, people. Turn it around. Scene 80. It's a useful tool to really prioritize in your head what it is that you need in order to make the scene that you want to make.
Jonathan's shooting it in a very particular way, too. He wants to create a kind of style, because there's a lot of flashback and there's forwards, and you jump from the past to the present, you go back a few years, you go back 500 years, and he wants to create a kind of shading to it, a kind of black and white feeling.
The overall visual design of the film, I wanted to have a very controlled sense of the world. By that I meant very, very slick and very, very smooth and direct camera movements. No handheld, no... I wanted, much like a good con artist trick, I wanted it to be elegant and smooth. The color palette I wanted to kind of dovetail into the time of year that we were shooting. We were shooting in winter, so I thought it would really play it up. I saw a lot of fields of white snow, which I thought would also figure in quite nicely to the actual camera work, the camera treatment that we were going to use for the film. Unfortunately, we had one of the warmest winters in history. There was no snow for the vast majority of our shoot, so we were constantly trying to, have like an icy, cool, white, gray looking world where everything was just kind of like a bizarre shade of winter taupe. It was a challenge that, our camera team and our art department really kind of worked with and succeeded in kind of manufacturing at times. This film was very aspirational insofar as that we're attempting to get a very, very big look on more modest means. In order to do that, it required a lot of planning ahead of time. Say, okay, well, these are the production realities. We're shooting at this time of year. We have these elements at our access. Now, how do we go about designing a film that can kind of deliver, on a big vision for what we have working here? And a lot of that is conscious design choices. Which is nice to use my old visual arts background. My first degree is in visual arts. I also studied philosophy and film, so I guess I'm kind of chronically unemployable otherwise. I don't know what else I would do for a living. Coming from a visual arts background, doing a film about, art heists, first of all, is a lot of fun. It kind of seems like a natural. But more importantly, kind of keeping the elements of design and style that are free to us all and kind of infusing them into our film. So you're kind of like making it a little bit more angular, making it a little bit more visually balanced, making it a little bit more minimalist as an artistic idea becomes a thematic idea and becomes part of the overall palette of the film. It becomes part of the language of the film. The clean lines, the simpler lines, the cold colors, the smooth sweeping, often wider shots that we use, trickles down into the story itself. My intention with this film was to make, was to tell a story that is equal parts, con artist flick and heist flick. Was to kind of not necessarily pay tribute to types of films that I like, but to it was. That's exactly what I tried to do. I wanted to make a kick-ass, cool-ass, heisty con artist movie. That's what I wanted to do. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. So I guess I don't want to answer this question. I just want to make a cool, fun movie.
Oh, and may I say this? Just to add to the Kurt Russell love fest, best head of hair on a human being I've ever seen. No, you laugh. No, you laugh. Best head of hair on a human being I have ever seen. It's ridiculous. It's insane. He has a phenomenal head of hair. I don't know what the hell he does. There's a lot of good hair in this movie. Well, yeah, I've got, Perma Chia head. Matt Dillon's got great hair. He's got a very sort of silky hair. Jay's got good hair, thick hair. He's got the Count Chocula widow's peak. He's got a good head of hair. Ken's got a great head of hair. It's dewy soft. I don't want Kurt to take that the wrong way, the hair.